Wow. So Tucker Carlson reaching like new lows with this Russian shill thing. At this point, I'm kind of surprised he doesn't have those little Muppet sticks holding his hands up when he's moving his hands. So like just some Russian back there, just moving his hands more. Now look what he's saying. Look at this thumbnail right here. Look, they're hostile to Christians. And the picture is Zelensky. You got Zelensky here with an explosion and Christian crosses. Yeah, he's blowing up Christianity. Is that what they're saying? This has gotten to a cartoon level. Look at it. It feels like a bit from Family Guy. The name of the video is "They're Fighting Satan." They're talking about the Russians. The Russians are fighting Satan. Frontline reporter reveals shocking Russian stories about Ukraine. Yeah, or this reporter is a Russian chill. Like Tucker Carlson trying to convince all the Christians that like Zelensky hates them and everything, and that the Ukrainians like hate Christianity and stuff like that. That's a big part of this video. But I just want to start y'all off with the kind of propaganda that that's coming out of this journalist guy, who they claim is the only journalist that is willing to hear the Russians out, right? Let's hear their side of the story. What is the big bullies that invaded a smaller country? What's their perspective? We all need to know that. We need to know what Russia's perspective is in all of this. Jeez Louise, as if we don't know.
I mean, if the United States and the West would not have been supplying the weapons and the funding to Ukraine for the last 3 years, the war would have ended 3 years ago, if not 2.5 years ago.
How would it have ended at that point, man? How would have the war have ended? Oh, with Russia just taking over the country and being like, y'all ain't a country anymore because you're just Russia now. But you're right, that would have ended the war. Are you serious? Is it like, so that's where it gets to. But let's go back to how it starts. Watch this. That's how it's going. Let's see how it started. Doing it in reverse. Watch this. This is madness.
Over here, the Ukrainian government is not just at war with Russia, but also with Christianity.
They're at war with Christianity, y'all. My goodness. They're just like, who's an easy person to convince of things? Oh, I know. The Christians. Those are the most gullible people on the planet. We just need to get them to hate Ukraine.
The Ukrainian government has banned the largest Christian denomination in Ukraine.
The Russian Orthodox Church? Yeah, I got it. Yeah, they were literally preaching from the pulpit that they deserve to be invaded and stuff. So, I get it. I get it. Jeez Louise.
And has embraced transgenderism and
they're also embraced transgender. Zelensky is actually a transgender Satanist, so hate him. Christians, make sure you hate him.
And other explicitly anti-Christian forms of expression.
Okay, yeah, being trans is just anti-Christian now, I guess. Okay, now there are certain Christians that are anti-trans. Typically, trans people don't really care about whether you're a Christian or not. Just don't hate them, usually,
Are you aware of that? Are the Russians aware of that? Is there a religious component? Just because their hostility to Christianity is so obvious.
Their hostility. Ukraine's hostility to Christianity. It's just so obvious. No, it's not, man. Tucker, buddy, do they have your family? Does Putin have your family, man? Like, because I think you're going to need to call like Liam Neeson. He has like a very special set of skills that might help you out in this situation. I'm just saying, okay? I've seen it work out well for people that are in that city. But what you're doing here, not helping. Not helping. Just making things worse.
Well, I always ask the soldiers on the front line who document fighting, what they're doing there. Why are they fighting? What are they fighting for? And often an answer that they give is they're fighting Satan.
I mean, as long as the Russians say they're fighting Satan, You should make that the name of the video. Actually, they did make that the name of. I'm sorry, never mind. They take back what I said. Like, how do you get this ridiculous? This seriously feels like a Family Guy's bit.
Because they view the religious atmosphere so different, as you point out, in Ukraine than the traditional Russian society.
This guy's a journalist. Is he really? I don't. Who is this guy? Like, why? He just sounds like he doesn't believe anything he's saying. It almost feels like he's reading. He's reading what he's supposed to say.
Religion is very important.
See what I mean? It's like religion is important to
the Russian soldier, and of course, I think it's quite a bit more than the traditional. You say there's no atheists on the front line, but
which is not true. That's just they love saying that because they think we're all scared to not exist anymore. Plenty of atheists on the front line.
This goes a lot deeper into their cultural heritage.
Have you seen any North Korean soldiers?
No, I have not. Not a lack of trying. I tried to investigate the reports of these North Korean soldiers, and I was not able to locate any of them.
There's been reports of North Korean soldiers helping Russia. That's interesting. But of course, this one journalist who's hearing out the Russians, the ultra oligarchical fascists that are trying to take over another country that was just minding their own business, but he hasn't seen any North Koreans. I don't know. It almost feels like he would say that even if he had seen some.
How many American correspondents are embedded with Russian units that you know of?
One. Me.
So no one from NBC or CNN or Fox or PBS or New York Times, Washington Post, you're not aware of any American correspondents covering the other side in this war?
Covering the Russian side, the invaders' side, the dictator that's trying to dominate another country, a sovereign country. We're not hearing that side out. I just feel like Tucker Carlson would have been like, well, let's hear out Hitler. Okay, he might have some good reasons for wanting to take over Poland.
No.
So does it feel to you that American reporters have basically taken the side of the Biden administration, which told us that Russia is our enemy, and are uncritically repeating U.S. government talking points?
Uncritically repeating. How does his audience have like goldfish brain? Like, do they forget that that's what happened? I feel like I have to keep on with it. They invaded them, man. They're the ones that invaded them. Like, oh, we didn't want them to be in NATO, and that's why we invaded them. Okay, it's not our fault. They got in NATO. Well, why don't you want them in NATO? What does NATO do? Oh, it sets up strategic defense, so that their borders can't be messed with, right? They would basically give Ukraine support that would almost be kind of like automatic, right? Like they would just have all these other countries that would have their back all of a sudden. The reason that they need that support in the first place is because Russia is such a bloodthirsty nutbag dictatorship. They can't trust them to not invade, even if they say they're not going to invade, which is why they need NATO. And Russia hates that.
Yeah, I mean, of course, the Western media has their narrative, and unfortunately, they try to hide the facts that most of what I report. They tried to hide and not report on it, and I tell all my.
This guy does not seem less good. Like, is he convinced of the things he's saying? Because it doesn't sound. He sounds like he's just some guy from a bus stop. I'm not saying he's not a journalist, but why is he so bad at this?
Viewers, don't just watch my reports because I don't have all the answers, but I'm showing you what the mainstream media doesn't want you to see. I'm just giving you my piece of the puzzle.
Okay, Alex Jones, get out of here, man. What is going on?
Something that you're not going to see anywhere else, unfortunately. But people need to get as many perspectives as possible and educate themselves, not just be led like sheep by the mainstream media.
Yeah, no, they're the ones being led like sheep. You're literally defending the dictator that invaded another country just because they wanted that land. And they are famous or infamous, I should say, for putting out propaganda and disinformation. They created Twitter bots and stuff to just go on and just say how great Russia is and how terrible Zelensky is, and say that Zelensky is a dictator too and everything. He's not a dictator. That's an insane thing to say. Russia is they've amped up their propaganda game. And you're just part of it, man. And it's too Russia's so bad at this that this is I don't understand how anybody could be convinced by this. I seriously don't.
And I'm very glad there's people like you out there as well that could give someone a little bit something to think about other than just the narrative that is trying to be forced down their throat.
Right. Yeah. That Zelensky is a transgender Satanist. Could you get more obvious, man, with your please just don't like Ukraine, y'all. Can you just not like them? They're Satanists. They hate Christians. They're cool with trans people. Okay. Hate them. You better hate them. Okay. And let Russia take over that country. Okay. They're cool with trans people. People that are cool with trans people should be able to be taken over by another country. I mean, come on.
Is the most obvious question, which is who's winning? And even now we're told that Ukraine, has a shot to win. Lindsey Graham has been saying this even recently. If only U.S. taxpayers would send Zelensky's government more money. What's your perspective as someone who's covering the war from the front lines?
Oh, let me guess. They got no chance in even winning. Okay, this is a waste of money. All right, it's a waste. They got no chance. We should just stop sending them money. Let Russia take them over. Okay, then Ukraine will just be Russia after that, and then the war will stop. I mean, and everybody will be happy except for all of the Ukrainians. But the war will have ended. And that's, I think, the important part, right? That's what, yeah, I think we can all agree that my goodness.
Well, I think the idea of Ukraine winning the war is just this dream and narrative that's been put out by the West to...
It's this crazy dream put out by the West that this little tiny stupid Satanist transgender country can actually win the war against the big, strong, masculine Russian men that are
make it acceptable for so much money to be put into Ukraine to extend this.
What? This guy's a journalist? Hold on. Let's hear that one more time. What, man?
For so much money to be put in.
To be putting what is happening? How, I don't feel like I've ever seen a journalist that's this bad at speaking before.
To Ukraine to extend this war, to bring Russian forces down in the country of Russia, just to make them use their resources more, including losing more people.
What? Hold on. So we're sending money to Ukraine just so we can get Russia to spend their resources, including people, because reasons. We just want them. It wouldn't it be great if Russia just had to use a bunch of resources for no reason? We should send them trillions of dollars over to Ukraine so that they have to then use all their resources, because that's the goal here, is just to get Russia to use resources. What are you talking about? The goal is to get Russia to not invade another country that they don't have any business invading. That's the goal. We're just trying to get them to spend money. It's they just want us to spend money. Okay, can we cut that? Yeah, Kevin, make sure to get that out of there. The Russian this is not coming. You better not leave that. I'm serious.
I mean, if the United States and the West would not have been supplying the weapons and the funding to Ukraine for the last 3 years, the war would have ended 3 years ago. If
no, they just would have been invaded. There would not have even been a war. They would have just been invaded, and Ukraine would have just become Russia, and that would have been it. That's why we had to send resources over to help the country that's being invaded by the crazy dictator. What are you talking about, man? This is insane.
not 2.5 years ago, and hundreds of thousands of lives would have been saved.
Of course, yeah.
It is
it's the lives. It's Zelensky and the U.S. spending money to keep Russia from invading a country. It's their fault of all the lives. That it's not the country that's doing the invading that is causing us as a country to have to send resources to Ukraine. It's not them causing the bodies. No, it's the people trying to stop the dictator from invading. God,
funding and the support of the West for Ukraine is directly responsible for hundreds of thousands of these deaths of soldiers on both sides.
Okay. Yeah. No, it's the invaders, man. The invaders are the ones responsible for it feels like an abuser in a relationship. He's like, it's your fault. Okay. Look what you're making me do. Okay. That black guy's on you. Hey, this is on you. You made me punish you like that.
And civilians for that matter.
How many have died? The other question that we can never get a straight answer to or any answer to is how many have died on both sides. Do you have any guess?
It's hard for me to say. My kind of thing in my reports is reporting of what I see, keeping my opinions out of it.
Yeah, sounds like it. Yeah, you sound very unopinionated. You just said that the war would have ended if we would have just let Russia invade Ukraine. But you don't have any opinions, man. Facts. You just report facts, right?
Between 1,000 and 2,000 soldiers, civilians. The whole city was just covered. A matter of a 30-minute period. One time I counted 87 just lighting the streets. It was really a horrible situation.
Yeah, maybe Russia should stop. Then this wouldn't have happened, man.
So many testimonies from locals about Ukrainian forces, basically, literally, these are not my words. These are the words of the locals that everything I say can be seen on my YouTube channel. These locals say that Ukrainian forces literally use them as human shields, would set up their tanks in between the apartment buildings and fire at Russian forces.
God, they have they have the same talking points for like every year. Didn't we get this talking point back in Iraq with Bush? I feel like I remember this exact talking point. They're like, well, they put their military targets in the middle of civilian areas, and so it's their fault that we just had to take out all these civilians. If at some point some bad guy is holding somebody hostage, let's say, it's one of them bank heists, right? And he's got a couple hostages or whatever. If the cops blow up the bank, they get, hey, the robbers, they made sure to rob a bank in a civilian area. They made sure to have innocent people around them. So we had to take out the entire bank. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, I had to take everybody out. Sorry, that's their fault. That was their fault for, it was the bank robbers. We have so many mechanisms in place that when there are hostages, we take all of these extra precautions and everything. But here they're just like, I don't know, they put it in a civilian area, so we had to blow up the civilians. Like, what the hell are you talking about? That's not a good. Are you crazy? What's going on? This is nuts. But it's the same freaking talking point that they used when they were invading Iraq.
And in other cases, they would directly fire on the civilian buildings. Ukraine forces directly firing on civilian buildings. This is what the locals told me on camera, and it can be seen. Not just one-off, a constant daily event.
Wait, you're telling me that there were Ukrainian people saying that the Ukrainian army was shooting at the Ukrainian people? because the Ukrainians are being invaded, right? So this isn't like this is happening in Russia. They're not sending like soldiers to Russia. Russia's sending soldiers to Ukraine. So now he's trying to say that Ukrainians are unaliving their own people, their own civilians. Those are the people they'd be fighting to defend. None of this makes any sense, dude. Like everything they're saying is just such propaganda brain. It's crazy. It's like you have to like if you watch this, you have to like shut your brain completely off to all the facts to like accept this as some kind of narrative that's reasonable to believe, you know? Insane. I just wow, Tucker, man, you need to call Liam Neeson and get your family back. That's all I'm saying, dude.
And unfortunately,
this guy's got a gun pointed at his head right now. He's just got like behind the camera is Vladimir Putin. Like, you better say it correctly. That was bad again. I tried to do it again. So, anyway, yeah, he's got like a gun pointed at his head right now, and they're holding up cue cards. You know, they got the gun in one hand, cue cards in the other. They're trying to do the Love Actually thing, but with the gun in their hands, that doesn't work out great. But he's still freaked out. He doesn't have a gun. So anyway,
instances of Ukrainian forces using schools as bases. One of my first days in Mariupol found a school number 25 of Mariupol. I'll never forget it. Went into the basement and found that Ukrainian forces were using this basement as a military position. And many burned out rooms and weapons, uniforms, flags, Ukrainian flags.
Yeah, maybe Russia shouldn't be invading, you know, like crossing over the border. Yeah, where there's going to be schools, there's going to be hospitals, there's going to be all sorts of stuff, right? And they're trying to defend their area, like their country. They were invaded by Russia. Why is this difficult? And they're like, but they're setting up in hospitals. So it's their fault that when we blow up their hospitals, when the Russians blow up their hospitals, it's their fault. Like you're in their country, man. What are you talking about? Jeez Louise. This is insane. Anyway, thank you all so much for hanging out. If you like this, please hit the like button. If you enjoy content like this, maybe subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, all that kind of stuff. Comment below if I got anything wrong or anything like that. I like to make sure that I'm actually on the right side of this sort of stuff. But it seems to me this is so obviously propaganda nonsense and should not be taken seriously. It's like they're not even trying anymore. That's what it seems like. They're just like, yeah, whatever. Their arguments are being printed out by Chat GPT or something. Like, well, what do you think we should say to defend the bullies that are invading? Chat GPT is like, I got it. You know, here you go. They're Satanists. they're Satanists that are transgender. Oh my God. But thank you all so much for hanging out. If you want to support the show, you can support us by supporting our sponsor, adamandeve.com. Enter that code word Brentley at checkout to get 50% off almost any one item, 6 free movies, 3 free gifts, and free shipping on the whole order. Go to adamandeve.com and enter that code word Brentley. Adamandeve.com is America's #1 adult toy dispensary. Save yourself a trip to that store that everybody always ends up seeing when you go there. Trust me, they do. You know, a lot of times it's your mom. And then she tells everybody at church, you don't want that, right? So have it sent directly. The packaging is discreet and it does come quickly, and so can you. Go to adamandeve.com, enter that code word Brentley. If you want to support us, you can support us by supporting our sponsor, adamandeve.com, or you can do a bunch of other stuff, right? You can become a patron. You can go to patreon.com/punkapostate. You can do a one-time payment on Cash App, and the cash tag is punkapostate. You can become a member by hitting that join button, and you get extra content and a whole bunch of extra perks. You can email me at punkapostate@gmail.com, and you can join our Discord. All the links to my socials are below, and you should follow me on all that stuff. But hey, the main thing is to stay logical, loving, skeptical, and compassionate, and we will see you next time.